Champion status. Champion status.
I'm Victoria Bulahova at Izzy Style Wrestling School, and next to me is owner operator Israel Martinez. Hi, Izzy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Just got done training some guys and getting ready for lunch.
Well, you don't need too much of an introduction. You're a head wrestling coach at Montini High School here in Illinois, as well as you're wrestling coach at Jackson MMA down in Albuquerque. And like I said already, you're owner operator at Izzy Style Wrestling School. Let's talk about how did you first got into wrestling.
You know what? I'm from Aurora, Illinois, and I grew up wrestling all my life in Illinois. 18 years old, went to North Idaho College. Lived in Iowa City for a little while, and now I'm here. I started MMA years ago with Clay Guida. He's the guy that kind of brought me into the sport, and went down to Jackson's MMA for years, and then now I'm kind of going back and forth, and I'm even up at Duke Rufus's gym. Coach Rufus has allowed me to kind of go up there and work with some of his athletes, so I'm kind of all over.
Well, let's come back a little bit back to the history. And there's a lot of sports in the world, but wrestling was your first love, I would assume. Who got you into wrestling? What was your first footsteps in there?
My dad got me into wrestling, so I grew up with a brother. I have a brother, Nathan Martinez, so I grew up with him, and we both started wrestling at the same time. I was 9 years old, and he was 11.
How you have a lot of titles. I'm not going to even start to name them because we probably will take a lot of time. But what are the most important ones for you?
Obviously this Holly Holm win was probably the biggest win of my coaching career in MMA. It's hard to say that with John Jones. Hope he's not listening, but he was fun too. It was fun winning 7 world titles with John, and I think every win is huge, and every win's a big win, And Holly really set it off, and one of my favorite ones is just the high school wrestling. I'm a high school wrestling coach, and watching the kids win, that's it's gratifying.
How difficult for you was to step down as a competitor and become a coach?
I was kind of forced to, so it was an easier transition than most. I wasn't where I needed to be mentally as a competitor. I had some lifestyle issues, and it was just easier at that point in my life to go into coaching rather than wrestling. So once I made the transition, I knew it was going to be an awesome journey.
Izzy Style Wrestling School was first, or the high school work was first?
You know what? I started at the same time. I started volunteering at Montini Catholic High School as an assistant coach, and as I'm volunteering, I was like, hey, what am I going to do to make some money? And I want to actually train some kids that are Izzy trained. And we kind of started the wrestling school 9 years ago, and I've been at Montini Catholic High School for 9 years also.
Izzy Style Wrestling School traveled a little bit around Illinois. You were in Schaumburg, you were in Bentonville, and now you're in Edison. How long you've been here, and how long it's been home for you?
You know what? You're smart. You've been you got it. You know what? We've been trying out the Chicagoland. We wanted to figure out where the mecca was, where people are willing to drive. Where's a central location? And so what we did was we tried Bentonville. We took a look at our members. We tried Schaumburg. We took a look at our members, and then what we did was we put out a map, and we placed every member's house on the map, and then we kind of came right in the middle. And right in the middle was Addison. It's literally the central location, 88294. We're right there, so it's we think that Addison is the hub. It's the central hub for everybody to get to. So we've been here for now the last year and a half, and we're growing every day. We're excited. I got my brother-in-law Justin Perch running the wrestling school. While I'm predominantly coaching MMA and wrestling. But so we got a lot of good things going. We have about 55 youth boys from the ages of 8th grade and below, and we have about 70 high school boys in groups level 1 and level 2. So right now we're doing well.
Well, what is Izzy Style?
You know what? It's it's a program where guys can come in and get motivated daily. But it's also an idea that we all don't have to fight the same way, and we all don't have to wrestle the same way. We're all different people, but we all have our own style, and we embrace it. And that's kind of what I tell the guys. My Izzy style ideas on life are, I'm not going to change for anyone, and I don't think anybody else should. I don't think we should have to change our styles, boxers into wrestlers, wrestlers into boxers. I think we got to kind of develop who we are and be proud of who we are, and just, it's Izzy style mentality here. Hard work pays off.
You mentioned some of the guys who work with you, but who are Izzy style people?
Justin Perch, it's crazy. He's a college teammate of mine at North Idaho College. He ends up having to marry my sister, which is a pretty weird idea here.
Such a coincidence.
Yeah, such a coincidence. He was the nice guy that I told to drive her home, but I didn't mean to drive her home, so it was a tough thing there. But it's kind of cool. He's lives here in Chicago. My family lives here, so it's a great opportunity to be close to my niece and nephew, and so we get to see them every day. Justin he's basically the operator of our wrestling school. He's the head youth coach here, and he's part business partner.
Well, as well, you have here striking guru Mike Wally. How did you guys first meet, and how did you start working together?
Yeah, so if you can hear that noise behind me, you hear those pads clapping and that bell going off. That's Coach Mike Valley. Coach Mike Valley and I met in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I was down there working with some guys. Coach Mike was down there working with Goyo Perez. And, we kind of started working together. Coach Mike actually started working with a lot of the guys I was working with at that point. Carlos Conn, Travis Brown, Cowboy Cerrone. And Coach Mike basically started working with them while I was going back and forth. We built such a strong relationship that when Mike wanted to kind of be his head, he wanted to be the head coach. He wanted to have his own striking program, and we felt that, man, he's learned from Coach Winklejohn, he's learned from Coach Gibson, he's learned from all his other coaches. It was time, and it was also time for me to kind of, John Jones gave us a year off, and he gave us a fun little break, so we kind of moved Mike up here, started operations up here, brought Yair Rodriguez up here, and then obviously being around, Anthony Pettis is here, Yair Rodriguez, Dodger Montano, Marco Beltran. We've had Anthony Hamilton, Holly Holmes up here. Michelle Watterson's been up here. So it's awesome. We got Pat Curran's a new member of our team. So it's exciting. The who's coming to Chicago, and we're putting Chicago MMA on the map.
That's great to hear. Well, let's talk a little bit about Pat Curran. When did you guys decide to collaborate, and when did he join the team?
Pat Curran, we had a meeting with him last week. It was just such a great conversation with him. He's such a tough competitor. I've actually been a fan of his for years. I watched him in jiu-jitsu tournaments, S7 grappling tournament. I've watched him compete in the Bellator. So it was awesome. I'm friends with Pat. I was friends with Jeff Curran, and Pat expressed that, he might be going back and forth between Jeff's and our gym, and, he's not sure, but he's going to train here. He's not cutting ties with anybody else, kind of like Anthony Pettis is. Anthony Pettis uses our gym as just a secondary training facility also. We're not taking guys from their home gyms and keeping them here. We're basically giving them a second place, a second learning environment, and, obviously 2 other coaches.
Well, your second home is Montini Catholic High School. You were one of 26 candidates who got the job. How excited were you to become a head coach of the wrestling program?
This is my 6th year as the head wrestling coach at Montini. We've won 5 state titles as a head coach since I've been head coach. We've won 8 in a row from Mike Bukowski, the legendary coach before me. It was awesome. I wasn't sure if that was something I wanted to do, but the opportunity was presented, and when it's presented to you, and that prestigious of a high school, that prestigious of a program, you jump on board, and it was the greatest thing to ever happen to me. That MMA, Clay Guida, certain things in my life, but Montini Catholic is definitely one of those things that it made me grow up fast. You're around kids, you got to kind of grow up fast, you got to straighten up, you got to live a good life, and you got to be on time, and you got to do things the right way. So, Montini's been a blessing to me. I love it, and everyone asks the question, how long are you going to be there? I'm going to be there as long as I can to make sure I give, as long as I can do my job, as long as I can give the kids what they need and do everything that I need to as a head coach. Hopefully I can can be there forever. You know, there's some other opportunities coming, and until they arise, until they come, you know, until it makes sense to leave Montini Catholic, I'll be there.
Well, your name is already in history of that school. You want it to, you don't want it.
Champion status.